can barely see here. Let's see. Trying something different. Anyway, greetings. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by here on YouTube Live this wonderful Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022, wherever you are on the globe. If you are logging in live, of course. Otherwise, any other time that you are coming on here, greetings and welcome. And thank you for joining and stopping by. If you're new, anything you all need to know about me, um, wow, hold on. Okay. Anyway, anything you all need to know about me should be listed in the description box. I hope you guys can see it. Um, because I did something a little bit different here, so bear with me. Bear with me. I don't know if it's working, but anyway, I'm just gonna keep it pushing here. All right. You guys just see a couple little things here, my distant Reiki mat and things like that. But in the title, you guys should see something along the lines of it's not about what you deserve, it's not what you need, it's what belongs to you. It's not about what do you deserve, it's or what you need, it's what belongs to you. And so this is going to be resonating for a few of you out there that's similar to myself. People who felt entitled to you as a person, people who felt entitled to your creations, your ideas, your body, your money, narcissists essentially, psychopaths, sociopaths, karmics, whatever you want to call it. And some of them religious fanatics, distorted spiritualists, you name it. At the end of the day, it's about what belongs to you. And so I just want to reiterate either what belongs to you, depending on what side of the stories you are on, or what you know belongs to someone else. Either what belongs to you or what you know belongs to someone else, okay? So don't allow, and I know this is easier said than done, you guys. So be kind with yourself, be gentle, take care of you. But I'm only reiterating to you all that when narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths, dark witches and warlocks, whoever they are, friends, family members, when they lose power and control, then they go into various forms of manipulation, various forms of gaslighting, various forms of game playing with individuals that are trying to stand up to do the right thing, whether it be the right thing for yourself or the right thing on behalf of someone you know was wrong. So at the end of the day, no one has the right to get in your head and get in your life and tell you what you ought to do. Okay, first and foremost. And when people are willing to lower themselves to such a degree to try to use their personal situations, like I don't have no money, I don't have nowhere to go, um, little John, little Susie, what about, this and that? And I know that what I'm saying to some of you, some people may say, wow, that sounds pretty, kind of cold. But you have to think about how cold these individuals were to begin with, to feel like they had the right to steal from others, especially if they did stuff against a child, a disabled person that doesn't have any defenses. But I mean, essentially anyone. If they didn't care about the health and the well being of others, if they didn't care about how their decisions to violate someone was going to affect those individuals, then you have to keep that in mind, even when they're trying to use the situations in which will eventually come up due to bad karma. So Eventually, all of the stealing, all of the con artist energy, all of the thievery, all of the sneakiness, all of the spells to do it, all that stuff is going to eventually backfire in the worst way. So when this happens, this is when you guys are going to see the crocodile tears. Okay? You're going to see the whole show. You're going to see, remember the times. They're going to use everything in their playbook. Times when they helped you in the past, even though it was an attachment to that, it was to get into your life and control you. Times, you know, they're going to remind you about times when you were doing the same shit that they were doing. They're going to remind you of so many things. Then, if that doesn't work, then they're going to remind you about the good times, which was all illusion. Because everything that you thought were real with these narcissist types, even if they're women, black witches and warlocks, spiritual and religious and communal narcs, whatever kind of a relationship you thought you really had, whatever you thought was there, it was never there to begin with. You were just yet another pawn, another object to their ploy, their supply, okay? Whatever role that was. So when all of this is changing, in which I'm assuming, you know, now that we're in August, for many of you, a lot of this stuff is changing because a lot of illusions have been shattered and are continuing to be shattered throughout the rest of this year. Lionsgate is going to be opening up very soon, that portal. And so I'm told, from what I've learned, is that you can always activate it or access it, but it's most potent around those times. And that's going to be all about new beginnings and jumping into a different timeline and, you know, recreating your world. And so it's imperative to understand that as we are seeing all these illusions shatter and we're releasing things and we're standing our ground and, you know, defending ourselves, standing up for ourselves, putting up boundaries, um, and releasing things, it's important to know that these people don't bow out gracefully, you know, especially if you're dealing with psychopath, sociopath types. Okay. Um, they don't bow out gracefully. Most of them, like I tell you guys this, most of these folks they're gonna die in their distortion. They rather die in their distortion rather than heal their lives, come clean, clear everything up. They rather die in their illusion because they just do. So don't wait around for that. Don't even entertain the thought of it. I used to be that way. It's a part of why we linger around so very long with people that has shown us over the years or over time, you know, that they are what they are. And wanting to believe that they can wake up one day and miraculously not be a dark witch or a warlock. That's not possible. Those are all ploys to get people to give them yet another chance to stall out time, whatever they can do possibly to try to win at all costs, to do more fuckery, to figure out more ways to steal what's not theirs. So remember, collective, whether it is you that, you know, is the one that is, you know, to receive what belongs to you, or if you're someone who knows something must be done or given to someone that deserves, or that, I'm sorry, that it belongs to. These people are going to use ploys like, well, they're okay. That's why I put this in the title. It's not about what you deserve or need, because they're going to use all of these various tactics. Well, they're not on the street. They seem to be okay. They have a home. They seem to be able to take care of themselves just fine. They seem to have picked themselves back up. They seem to have recovered, or whatever slick manipulative ways they try to convince people that you should let me have what belongs to them because I'm losing what I have. Narcissists are extremely self-absorbed and a delusional sense of grandeur. They objectify people and they feel like they are more important than others. So, to get yourself out of any of that, first and foremost, ideally in psychology, they say no contact. If that, if the situations permit you to. But even when they don't entertain much conversation because it's all about trying to get in your head and trying to fill you out so that they can try to figure out another plot. Narcissists, again, they have no regard for how their actions and behaviors and decisions, their thievery, their lying, their conning, their fraud, they have no sense of regard for how that has affected the receiver of all of that. So you're not to have any sensitivities regarding when it's time for karma to play out for them. And unfortunately, yes, that includes children. This is unfortunately the negative consequence of adults that are not well, that are going about making all sorts of decisions thinking it doesn't have a cost and penalty. This is unfortunately the way the cookie crumbles. That's why I say narcissists don't care about their children. They don't care about their grandchildren. They really don't. They may appear to be that way, but they don't. They do spells on their own children, their own friends, and their own lovers, those who do that stuff, to get them to do their dirty work so that they don't have to take the fall. So what does it tell you? It tells you that they don't care that those children, those people, those lovers, those friends are going to receive bad karma. What does that tell you? That they can possibly get into trouble with the law? What does it tell you? When these dark witches and warlocks do all of this, trying to set people up to get beat up or killed or doing spell work, death magic, they don't care that it may be their own children or their own grandkids. They don't care. Especially if they were doing rituals on your children as a high, vibe person. They don't care that that's going to may eventually make its way back. What they do is use it to still try to project onto divine ones. This is why I tell people, get educated. Learn how to read energy. They do not care. They'll play like they care and they may even cry and fall out and do all sorts of things. If somebody took ill or got into the hospital or have an accident or died, but they don't really care. Because these are consequences. They think they bypass consequences, but they don't. And then since they try to figure out ways to bypass it, they get a lot of pawns to do their dirty work because they don't care about who was going down with them. They don't care about eliciting clergy. They don't care about eliciting spiritualists. They don't care. They don't care that these individuals are going to equally pay penalties for things. You guys need to wake up. Folks need to wake up. It shouldn't be a discussion or an argument about someone receiving what belongs to them. It's just that simple. Whether they are okay in life or not. And it's not for anyone to determine if someone deserves something or not. That's why I put the title that way. It's about what belongs to somebody, especially when you're talking about thievery. And I want to close with this analogy. And again, you guys know I don't have a man made religious bent. Okay. Am highly connected to source and ascended masters. But I do believe in various, scriptural texts as well as other spiritual artifacts that's relevant, and that's not about, the agenda and the program to get people in fear and control. Some stories I find fascinating, metaphorically speaking. And so I want to reference the story of Jonah in a low vibrational sense, not in a high vibrational sense. Jonah, in a high vibrational sense, eventually catches a clue. But the whole issue about Jonah was this was a person that was running from truth. They didn't want to face the truth. They didn't want to deal with the truth. They wanted to hide the truth. They wanted to blend in and fit in. They wanted to blend in and fit in. But what eventually started to happen was trouble started to follow Jonah. Jonah gets on a ship. All hell starts breaking out all of a sudden. No one knew for quite a while they were on this ship that why was it that when this Jonah character, prior to this stop and this location and picking up this gentleman or whatever, it was fine and now it's crazy. They didn't think nothing of it because, it's like, okay, natural. People that, sail and do all that stuff, and they probably like, well, it's the nature of the game. But there was someone that started discerning something and picking up something, and they were like, wait a minute, no. Something to do with this person. Jonah wasn't going to say nothing. He was scared and he was trying to hide because he didn't want to deal with that. So, but he eventually confesses something, and so they told him, well, it's either you jump ship, willfully, or we'll, throw you over or some shit like that. Here's my point. Once he jumped ship, then it became smooth sailing for the rest of those crew members. Y'all know the story. I'm not saying this is full accuracy. I just like the symbolism. Okay. He ends up in the belly of a whale, swallowed by his deceit, swallowed by life and all that he had created, stuck. And would stay stuck there unless he faced himself. But the real point that I want to make is how when he jumped ship, it became smooth sailing for the rest. And you guys, unfortunately, this is the case sometimes in dealing with dysfunctional relationships. When we let these people go, or like the crew member said, either you willfully jump ship or we're going to throw you over the boat. Then things start to get brighter again. Then we can heal. Now, you may not feel it right away because, again, when you've dealt with narcissistic abuse, you're going to go through so many phases of healing dealing with that. Okay? It's like getting off of heroin. research says. Okay? There's been a whole lot of trauma bonding. There's been a whole lot of Stockholm syndrome. There's been a whole lot of conditioning, right? All sorts of things that are at play. So, of course, eventually, it feels better. But at first, it's pleasure pain because you feel the pain of the loss. You feel their vengeance because I'm telling you right now, especially if you were dealing with real psychopaths, this is what my family has done to me and amongst other narcissists that I've targeted in my life. Because how dare you set yourself free? How dare you go on? How dare you be happy? How dare you create? How dare you be successful? So they seek to destroy you in a cowardly way. I have a card in the deck that I've created that says coward, but a bully in the dark. And what I meant by that is like they're cowardly. They save face for the world because they want to be seen as decent people. But in the dark, they're doing all sorts of shit because they're bullies. So they're doing spells, rituals, smear campaigning, stalking, stealing because they're bullies. They're bullies in the dark. They hide behind fake profiles. They create fake profiles because they're cowards. They're bullies in the dark. This is what my family has done. Nobody wanted to believe it, but it's true anyhow. And they'll all see before this year is out. As well as many others. Collective. Get away from people who try to get in your head and fuck with your head pertaining to doing the right thing or pertaining to what is due you. You have a right to defend and fight for what's yours. And you also have a right to defend and stand up to do what's right by someone else. The only people that is scrambling about trying to convince folks otherwise are the individuals that benefited off of the lies and the thievery to begin with. Or the ones that had an issue in their own heart and soul of insecurity, envy, and jealousy. And so they benefited in that way of trying to hurt the one that was stolen from. Don't allow yourself to be tied to these people's karma and these people's emotional garbage perceptions and beliefs so that they can convince you to not do what's right. Get yourself somewhere safe. Start taking note, recording every bit of bullying and harassing energy that they give you. They're calling you, they're leaving crazy messages, texting, emailing, if they're sending their friends. Because, see, when you're dealing with people who have created a network of lunatics, so they got all of their flying monkeys, their kids' friends, their friends this, their this and that, and, dark witch coming here and there. Or if they put their fangs into your family members and your friends, These are individuals you may have to walk away. Like I told y'all, I'll talk to people, I'll reach out and I'll feel folks out. But the moment I start smelling that depravity, the moment I sense the black witch, because they hacked people's heads, by the way, to get people to say certain things. I'm aware of that as well. They were doing that to my son for a long time. It's one of the highest penalties they're going to pay for before they croak. They do get into people's heads. As soon as I smell that subtlety, they'll be cut off. Because here's the truth about my life, not one of my family members actually ever supported me. And I mean, not one. I mean, just that. They've always been following me, though. I've been had social media, and you can bet your bottom dollar they've always been watching and following, even before I was in this arena. But not one ever supported. And see, communication is 85% nonverbal. So most of them are jealous because I had the audacity to go on and be seen and be celebrated. So they have made it their life's purpose to seek to attempt to destroy that. And the only thing that they had to use was religion, that they themselves do not live. Because just because you quote something and you have a Bible, all that stuff is foolery. It means nothing. Just because you cry on an altar or get in front of a pastor or a preacher or a prayer lady and cry, and none of that don't mean shit. These people are still up to foolery. And like I said, no matter what arena you're in, that is disillusionment to think that you have a right to fuck with someone else's life. They're hypocrites. They've been stealing from me, yet try to discredit me. They look for what I do every day so that they can go create it somewhere else. So collective. So it is with you. But if you are a divine feminine and a divine masculine that has come to the light about this and have started your awakening and healing process and are ready to do the right thing for yourself and the counterpart or whoever is involved that was wrong, then stop going back and forth in your head. Don't keep going to 12 people to get advice that are asleep, that don't even understand the nature of this journey, don't even believe in certain things, can't even fucking relate. This is why it's important for us when we're on these paths, we have to learn how to go in immediately. Because one of the most frustrating things you're going to go through with this awakening process is reaching out even to spiritualists that seem to not get it. They want to talk to you about the law of attraction, likes about like attracting like, and it's almost like insult to injury, like, oh, So they don't really fully understand that there is light and dark in the world, whether they want to believe that or not. But not only that, that's not entirely true. Like attracts like, but it also goes the other way. People, are always drawn usually to what they're not, because it's something that's lacking or missing. So try, set those intentions to get alone, get somewhere and go in and heal and take care of yourself and take your time and, ask to be led and guided. And you know what I'm saying? As you're trying to feel your way through, because I went through that with spiritualists, and people who are not truly on a twin flame journey. Because some people think they're on a twin flame journey, but if they were really on one, then they would understand. Even though we're vastly different, they would know that, okay, I may not per se, but this shit is real. People do weird shit, and it's all energy. And that we have to work through our traumas and issues to even be able to surpass some of these things that's happening. I always say that if you haven't had to experience something, then you can't relate, then shut the fuck up. I don't care if you're 1,000 years old, then shut the fuck up. Because all things being equal, every last one of us will fight for what's right if it's pertaining to us. So don't let no one outside of you convince you differently, because they want to still benefit off of you being low vibrational and asleep, or off of you being fucked up, okay? And I know I said I was going to close with the Jonah story, right? But what else? Okay, this is my channel. I have a right to do this how I want. I ain't got shit to say to the critiquers either. It's like, go critique your own shit. Now, I saw a gentleman on TikTok, a little short. He said, pay attention and start avoiding these type people. If you see somebody do some real fucked up shit to somebody, avoid those type of people, because he said it may not be you right now. He said, but it will be you the moment you piss them off. It will be you the moment you can't, you won't let them objectify you anymore. The moment they can't benefit off of you the way they want to, that if you've seen them do some fucked up shit to somebody, you can bet your bottom dollar they'll do it to you. And I think that was one of the wisest things I've heard, because sometimes, we're a little silly. We think, especially when it comes to like gangs and secret groups and all of this weird shit and lovers and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, if you've seen them do some hellish shit and we be thinking it's cute, like, oh, haha, look at this and oh, haha, they will do this shit to you. And it's a lesson about learning to stay away from people who have it in them to be fucked up, willfully and intentionally. Okay? All right, you guys. I hope you guys can see this, so I'm going to have to check it out after I end this. I'll be back. Ouch. How am I supposed to... I guess that's what I get for trying to do something different.